Well, the biggest thought that I could really stress out here is cooperation and doing treatment. Everyone has a stake in this concern or this problem. That we need to address it as everybody's problem and not just one individual's problem. That weeds grow beyond specific boundaries, and that we need to treat the problem and not the symptom.
Noxious weeds are having a major economic and environmental impact on western landscapes. Affected are valuable range and forest lands, wildlife habitat, watersheds, and recreation areas. These types of weeds respect no ownership boundaries. As a result, a cooperative approach among all affected landowners and interests within a defined area has proven to be the most effective method to deal with noxious weed management. One such cooperative approach is the Goshen Coordinated Resource Management, or CRM Project. It is comprised of individuals and agencies at the local, county, state, and federal level working together to manage noxious weeds on a watershed basis in Goshen County, Wyoming. The first site the CRM tested was the Sullivan Springer Wildlife Habitat Management Area in Goshen County, Wyoming. Due to a large noxious weed infestation, the BLM, Wyoming Game and Fish, and Goshen County Weed and Pest District determined this site to be a serious threat to very high-value wildlife habitat, range, cropland, and recreation areas.
Well, using the Sullivan Springer CRM, or this coordinated effort, this is serving as a pilot project, so to speak, in which we can take this model of success, may I say, and incorporate it throughout the Bureau, and at least throughout the state of Wyoming. Taking what has really worked here and expanding that to other offices and other problem areas. This all started out as a rather small area. First it started at this Sullivan Springer Habitat Management Area, in which then it expanded more into a watershed management area, which was about 35,000 acres. And since the inception of this project, we have taken this and expanded our area by another 6-7 sections. Eventually, I see this going into more of a county-wide planning effort for noxious weed control here in Goshen County and maybe other counties expanded out throughout the state.
Well, up until '94, I'd been having a lot of complaints from the public about a lot of noxious weed infestation that was out in the Yoder area, basically coming from around the Springer Sullivan Reserve. After a little bit of discussion with the Game and Fish Department about this problem, we come up to a mutual agreement to start a CRM.
The CRM project began in 1994 with a meeting between officials of the Wyoming Game and Fish Department and Goshen County Weed and Pest District. Public meetings confirmed the need for collaborative planning, so a CRM team was formed.
Mostly the Game and Fish got involved with this CRM in response to landowner concerns of noxious vegetation being spread from our lands to theirs, or vice versa, mostly from our lands to theirs. We are at the bottom of a ditch system, so we gain all the seed.
From my perspective of being the supervisor, and my job is to control noxious weeds, the fact that the cooperation that we're getting from everybody is such a positive thing. We're crossing boundaries. Weeds do not know any boundaries.
I really haven't seen many negatives in the CRM process. Actually, it seems to be a win-win situation. You attract a large number of people to these programs to work on it collectively. Everybody seems to come out a winner in these types of situations.
The other CRMs that we've formed in Wyoming to manage weeds are using the Goshen CRM as kind of a guiding force to help us. We're following what they have done and coming up with their objectives.
From that main meeting, they established a core group, which involved the main players, the BLM, the Game and Fish, the local operators, ranchers and farmers that were involved, the county weed and pest agent, the NRCS, and numerous other folks, and that developed that core group. From this core group, we developed a mission statement on how to treat the noxious weeds and identify the problems in this area. We got funds from Dow Lanco in which to map this whole unit for noxious weeds. We looked at 4 different species, primarily musk thistle, Canadian thistle, field bindweed, and Russian knapweed. We ended up mapping approximately 35,000 acres of this watershed.
The CRM also sought and received $17,000 in funds from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation's Pulling Together initiative, a national strategy for invasive plant management. That money was used to spray noxious weeds on 3,000 acres of private lands. Matching funds of $17,000 were obtained from the Wyoming Highway Department, Union Pacific Railroad, Wyoming Game and Fish Department, and Goshe County Weed and Pest District, and BLM contributed another $7,000 in matching funds. The original $17,000 in funding grew to more than $40,000. To best utilize the money to help eradicate the weeds, the Goshen CRM decided to implement integrated pest management as a control method.
Integrated pest management is the use of a number of control measures to control noxious weeds or pests. For instance, you could use biological controls, which would be introducing an insect into a weed infestation so that the insects can control the seeds or the roots or other parts of the plant. You could use mechanical controls such as mowing, pulling, hoeing, or plowing to control noxious weeds. You can use chemical controls such as herbicides or insecticides to control the pests that you're after. You can also provide educational opportunities to the people around the state or in the areas so that they understand how the weeds that you're after work and how the various control methods might take into account.
Biological control is used in areas that is like riparian areas, under trees, and pretty much in areas that you can't get in there to spray or mow. So our whole idea is to be able to do some kind of weed management, and biological control usually is our answer. Okay, in 1990, we released a little insect, a bioagent called a T. hortus. It's a rosette feeder. At the larval stage, it bores down into the taproot of the musk thistle plant and stresses the plant to a point that it will not produce seeds. So in 1996, we come in here and collected about 5,000 insects off this site, which we had distributed out throughout the state of Wyoming and in our own county. Also included in this area is another insect, a bioagent called Rhinocillus conicus. And what this insect does, it's a seed feeder. At the rosette, at the larval stage, after laying eggs on the plant, the larvae move into the seed head and pretty much clean out the seeds. What this does, this plant is a biennial plant that lives for 2 years and produces strictly from seeds. So the insect reduces the seed source, and in time the site will disappear. This area is pretty much typical of what it looked like before we started doing our CRM project. This site is actually reduced dramatically compared to the way it was when we first started releasing our insects. There's no cost to any of the counties for these insects. Usually what we do some trading. Other counties have insects, such as for Canada thistle control or leafy spurge control. So we collect from those sites, and then we allow them to collect what they need from our county. There is also a grant through the Department of Ag from pesticide registrations. Through this grant, it's the purpose of the grant is to be able to get insects and distribute them throughout our area and through the state.
Well, from that effort and these things that went on, that led right to our second part of our mission statement, was the education of the public. We got money through Two-Shot Goose funds to help also with this education. We've developed an internet site, which we've had many successes, people reading this throughout the country. We've had articles with the Wyoming Wildlife magazine, which is produced by the Game and Fish. We've had 2 articles there. We've had numerous articles in the paper. We've had asked to give several presentations around the state of Wyoming dealing with the Governor's CRM Forum, also through National Rangeland Conference for the BLM.
The purpose of taking the photo board to these meetings was an educational effort on the part of the Department of Agriculture and the Goshen CRM to provide some opportunities to the public so that they would become aware of noxious weeds and that the problem can be solved by CRM process.
The role of CRM nationally is to help manage whatever area they consider for the CRM, be it a wetlands or a large area. They're using it in some municipalities for managing the resources. It can be used as a people process in any situation. The Goshen CRM is one of the successes of the Wyoming CRM program. All the interests have come to the table. They've utilized hard work, science, good management, resource management, Wyoming common sense to bring everybody to the table to manage. The main goal here is to manage weeds. The Goshe County CRM has proven to Wyoming and the country that you can successfully use the CRM program to manage the resources.
As regards to the CRM, it's been an excellent program, excellent people to work with. It's a program that I'm one I can say I'm proud to be a member of, and hope to keep working on it in the future.
I think that the thing that we have really found out that with the cooperation of the BLM, the NRCS, the Weed and Pest, the Soil Conservation District, the Department of Ag, all the entities that were involved in it, there's just no end to what we can get accomplished when we all work together like we did in this project.
The Goshen CRM has so far successfully managed 35,000 acres of valuable lands in their battle against noxious weeds. The key to their success, according to team members, is the commitment to cooperation demonstrated by each member on the committee. All agree that as a result of this collaborative process, invasive weeds can be controlled and the wildlife habitat, rangelands, and farmlands will continue to thrive in their natural environment.
As good of a start as we've got, you know, I can go out to those same fences that I looked over before and saw nothing but noxious weeds, and now I'm seeing nothing but habitat as you see around me right now. And we're getting people calling us wanting to get involved, and so there's no limit to what we can get accomplished with the way it's going right now.